Well, a historic night here in Portchester Hall. We've just gone off the air for Live in London 100. Dave Bradshaw here with RevPro owner and booker Andy Quildan. Andy, first of all, congratulations 100 times.
We should say congratulations to the league, Arsenal.
No, I was definitely not going to.
I'm not sure if we can keep that even. I don't know, but yeah, it was.
I've missed you these last few weeks.
Are we carrying on? Let's carry on. Yeah, it was. Honestly, it blows my mind to think where we started. These monthly shows in London. I said it from the time we started looking at Live in London 100, and the fact that we started in the London cockpit. This was officially the biggest attendance at a Live in London event as that. Obviously, look, we've had more in other venues in London, but in terms of that monthly show, and a lot of the time that's because we've been handcuffed by the size of the venue. But now, obviously, in the Portchester Hall, as I've said from the start, like, we have to look at it as a blessing in disguise, because it's not only is it an absolutely beautiful venue, but it gives us the opportunity to grow and to continue to grow. And I think we saw a great example of that here tonight, because, at the 229 or the London cockpit, we would have been turning people away tonight. So I think that's very exciting. And I think that the venue's great. Does great hot dogs. You've tried one of them yet?
No, I haven't, but I'm
great off.
Okay, guess. I mean, thanks for noticing.
You look great, mate.
Thanks.
That's what a few weeks away from RevPro has done for you, right? And it's just a great to be in this venue, and there is a real sense of it. Look, I always say, like, the job is never done, right? We always, and I've made a big point in saying as well that we don't see any event as a final destination. It's just another stop on our journey, and the important thing is being able to continue to move forward. So whilst we celebrate 100 monthly shows in London, we also continue to look forward. And I think that's something where today's show did a great job of, continuing to look forward.
Yeah, not a destination, but a milestone, certainly.
Absolutely. And something we should be celebrating, something we should be proud of, and something that I feel like in professional wrestling, in British wrestling, I'm very guilty of it. We don't take enough time to stop and reflect upon our achievements and what we've done. And I think that it's a very nice time now to be able to sit back and look at, some of the great moments we've had, and to celebrate the fact that we're still going, and we're still going stronger.
We're headed towards the OVO Arena, Wembley, in fact, next August for our 14-year anniversary. But that's way in the future. Let's stick to tonight. I want to talk, first of all, about our main event. Michael Oku was challenging Shah Samuels for the undisputed British heavyweight title. Congratulations to Shah Samuels for the successful retention. But, of course, that was not the end of the story, because two men at the end of the match choosing to make a statement.
It was two shows in a row in the Portchester Hall where, we think the action's over, but then boom, like, everything changes in a second. And it really did with the Cutthroat Collective last time out, the chaos they caused, and then the chaos that was caused at the conclusion of tonight's show by Connor Mills and Jay Joshua, who are two wrestlers who, look, I've made no secret of the fact I'm a great admirer of Connor Mills and Jay Joshua as professional wrestlers, what they've been doing since aligning with one another, and the way they ripped through the Great British Tag League. Of course, they had that huge accolade last week of defeating Tetsuya Naito and Bushi. They're on a roll. They're the informed wrestlers in Revolution Pro Wrestling. They had a statement victory earlier on tonight against the Sons of Southampton, and they made their presence felt. I can't necessarily say that I'm a fan of the way they went about doing it, but you can't deny the fact they made a real impact, didn't they? And it's one of those things, again, where the whole face of Revolution Pro Wrestling could be turning in an instant, and I think that where there's an opportunity, like, one thing that Jay Joshua and Connor Mills have done very well at is making the most of opportunities and taking those moments. And I think they saw an opening with Leon Slater not here tonight, and they wanted to take that opening, because
they took it and then some.
Because Leon Slater's been very vocal about the fact he wants to be the undisputed British heavyweight champion. He's been very vocal about his disdain for Michael Oku as well, and no one's got a more personal rivalry with Michael Oku than Connor Mills. This is something that goes back to 2019, but if you want to predate that, this is something that goes back to Michael Oku's first day as a professional wrestler, when he walked into a professional wrestling school, and the first person to greet him was Connor Mills. Connor Mills took him under his wing. He taught him the art of the sport of professional wrestling. They became best friends. They were inseparable. it was it was Michael Oku, sorry, that found his way into Revolution Pro Wrestling first. And Michael Oku said, I want to be here, but I also want Conor Mills to be here. And when Michael Oku won the Cruiserweight Championship, his first defense, he wanted to be against his best friend, Conor Mills. And look, without going through a long and winding and complex history, Conor Mills saw that offer from Michael, which was done through friendship, which was done out of respect. He saw it as being patronizing. And post-match, Conor Mills hit a spin kick to the back of Michael Oku's head and set off a chain of events that were halted by a global pandemic. And during that time, the pair reconciled. They came out that pandemic. They became Great British Tag League winners, undisputed British Tag Team champions. But the jealousy that Conor Mills had for Michael Oku bubbled underneath, and it's something that hasn't gone away.
And it boiled over.
And it boiled over tonight. That's what I mean. And it's something which is deeply rooted, is personal, and I didn't think we were going to see Conor Mills and Michael Oku compete against each other again, but we are. We're going to make the match. We're going to make it happen. Conor Mills and Michael Oku. After tonight, there's no doubt Michael Oku's going to want it. I know Michael Oku has gone on record as saying like he'd prefer not to, but after tonight,
more chapters of that storied rivalry to be written. But you're talking about personal rivalries, and I also want to talk briefly about the 2 out of 3 Falls match you saw tonight. Emerson Jane and Kanji, who'd competed twice before this year. They already had 1 win each, trying to settle their differences. Kanji with the win in what was one of the most physically intense matches I think we've seen in recent memory. Does that mean their rivalry is concluded? Emerson Jane certainly didn't seem to think it will ever be over between them.
This is real life, right? This is not like one of those things whereby you have a match with someone, you have a rivalry with someone, and then you have a match with that person, and it settles everything, right? This is one of those times whereby sometimes it can settle things. Sometimes people can shake hands at the end of it, but when that animosity runs deep, it becomes very, very hard, right? It becomes very, very hard to move on from those moments, right? And I think that, look, whilst it's not something, so my job as a matchmaker, I feel it was a pretty, look, you can't get more definitive in a 2 out of 3 Falls match. It was a rubber match, and we wanted to make sure, and Kanji wanted to make sure, as you did make sure in that, like you say, physical contest. But my job as a matchmaker is to kind of, like, I feel like, for now at least, that chapter has been told, and it's time to kind of look for other challenges for both women, because there's no doubt in my mind that they're 2 of the best professional wrestlers in the world right now. And I want to put them in more interesting and intriguing scenarios. And I feel that it's just disservice to both to have them bogged down in this, like you say, but it's, well, I guess personal, bitter rivalry, right? At some point we have to kind of move on. But, if you say, is it ever going to be over? No, it's not going to be over, because the world doesn't work like that, right? It takes a lot to bring people back together after some kind of rivalry like that. So my job at the moment is going to be to try and keep them out of each other's way. Will they fight again? I think it's probably inevitability, but it's one of the blessings and the curses of being a matchmaker for Revolution Pro Wrestling, which is, I'm going to say, one of the most competitive wrestling leagues in the world, with the best wrestlers in the world. And when you have that at your disposal, yes, there's going to be rivalries. Yes, it's going to get personal from time to time. And as a promoter, am I sometimes going to, put a little bit of gas on that fire? Sometimes I am, right? But we need to be able to move on. We need to be able to kind of explore, like you say, explore other avenues for both women, and some new, fresh and exciting matches for the fans. But I think this is a match that we'll be remembering for a long time. And to me, it's a sign of how far our women's division's come and grown, and the fact that they went out there and for 25 minutes just hell to leather, like it was
absolutely great. Pour into each other. It was an unbelievable match. If you didn't see it, make sure you catch it on RevPro on demand. I do want to get your thoughts quickly on 2 unexpected returns that we saw tonight. Very different circumstances, both of them, but Leon Cage returning to be the person who was the mystery opponent for Luke Jacobs, And we saw Mark Haskins come in to be an ally of Trent Seven as Seven found himself on the 2-on-1 odds against the Machine. What are your thoughts on both of those guys coming back?
Welcome returns to Revolution Pro Wrestling. Leon Cage is look, it's interesting, isn't it? Because when you look at Mark Haskins and you look at Leon Cage, you look at where Mark Haskins was when he came into Rev Pro. That's almost like what Leon Cage is right now. But I think it's great, and I think it's great having veterans around. So look, let's one by one. Like, look, Leon Cage, he was on the verge of becoming an undisputed British Cruiserweight champion. He had a date with Will Caven for a Revolution Rumble where he'd become the number one contender. He had to get through Chris Ridgway to become the number one contender to that undisputed British Cruiserweight championship when he broke his leg. Chris Ridgway will take credit for that. Chris Ridgway will say, you know, it's no coincidence that you wrestle me in a war and then a few days later your leg snaps, because I softened it up, I weakened it up. That's what I do.
Hell of a recovery, by the way. Less than 5 months, and he had 3 metal pals, 21 screws in his foot, and yet he's already back, and he was looking as good as ever.
And how good did he look? And he just jumped back in at the deep end, right? And
he nearly beat Jacobs.
He did. And let's not forget the run that Luke Jacobs is on at the moment. Let's not forget Luke Jacobs. Last week, he said to me in Coventry, he said, you know, I want to be back at the top. I want to be number one. I want to be the guy again. Right. And Luke Jacobs is in some rare form right now. And Leon Cage took him to the limit in his first match back. So how good is Leon Cage going to get? And how good can Leon Cage be? He jumped in at the deep end tonight. He was a mystery opponent. The reason he was a mystery opponent, we didn't want to put any pressure on Leon Cage. We didn't want to put that weight of pressure on his shoulders. He's got enough pressure coming back as it is. So there wasn't that speculation about his return. And look, I think a testament to Leon Cage is the fact the reaction to him when he came out as a surprise, you know, when he came out, the people came up, the people were super excited. He got a hell of a reception, and the people remembered because he made such a large impression in such a short space of time in Revolution Pro Wrestling. And it's great to have his enthusiasm, his energy back in the locker room. I've never seen someone post-contest, I've never seen someone so excited about having taken a beating from one of the toughest men in Revolution Pro Wrestling. So, you know, absolutely great to have Leon Cage back. Mark Haskins, like you say, come back, different circumstances. He's been away from Revolution Pro Wrestling for some time now. Look, I always say what's so important about British wrestling is all the young veterans, you know, and Mark Haskins is one of those young veterans. You know, he's been around the world, competed for TNA, Ring of Honor, you know, with contracts for them, competed for Dragon Gate. And there's no doubt that Mark Haskins is on his day, a top level pro wrestler. There's questions. Can he hang with today's RevPro roster? But those are questions I think he's going to be more than happy to answer. And I feel that, you know, maybe he's been encouraged by seeing the success of Shah Samuels, one of his contemporaries, you know. Shah Samuels broke in, I guess, just before, well, he was kind of like, I guess if you look at generations of British wrestling, I think Shah Samuels, I think you could say came in first of the new generation, alongside Martin Stone, alongside Teddy Frazier, Spard, Jack Storm, you know, games with guys we all remember very fondly. But then the next wave of people were guys like Haskins, guys like Zack Sabre Jr., right? And he's very much a young veteran, still a young man, but still many years experience in this sport. And what he's going to bring to the table, look, first of all, he's going to even the odds for Trent Seven, and hopefully we get to the end of this saga between Trent Seven and the Machine. Now the numbers are equal. But what Mark Haskins is going to bring to this situation is high-level matchups, first-time matchups with new, fresh and exciting talent. And I love that. And I love all the lessons that people can learn from wrestling someone like a Mark Haskins, from wrestling someone like a Shah Samuels, from wrestling someone like a Trent Seven. You know, they can still go at the very top level. So I'm very, very excited to have Mark Haskins back in Revolution Pro Wrestling. And I'm like I said, I'm excited to see the possibility of some of the matches. You know, I'd love to see him against Leon Cage. I'd love to see him against Danilo Bryan, you know, any of the Bryant brothers, you know, Cameron Kai. You know, it'd be interesting to see how he matches up, because he's one of the smartest minds in the business. It'd be interesting to see how he matches up against a Liam Slater, right? So many mouth-watering, intriguing.
I mean, he's a difference maker. We don't know what difference. He's so unpredictable, but he's going to change things having Mark Haskins back here in Rev Pro. You mentioned Nino Bryan, you mentioned Cameron Kai, and one of the things that we learned tonight is that this coming Sunday in Southampton, they're going to be competing for the Undisputed British Cruiserweight Championship. After that, of course, following week, October 18th, we're in Wolverhampton for Fantastica Mania UK with Michael Oaker against Mystico, among other things. So just briefly, as we head deeper into October, live in Lyon at the end of the month as well, what are you looking forward to the most?
Getting to the end of the month. Yeah, we're non-stop now, aren't we? Again, like I said, it's now. We always. Yeah, that's the thing, is it? We are non-stop, and these get longer and longer because we've got so much to talk about always. But yeah, so look, next week, Southampton's going to be exciting. I've kind of expressed last week in Coventry. You weren't there. Francesca did a fantastic job. You should check it out.
It was all right.
Won't you? But what I like the most about what we've been doing lately is we've been growing crowds. So be it here live in London, be it in Coventry, be it in Sheffield, be it in Southampton, you know, the crowds are growing. It's like I always talk about one fan at a time. I think we're seeing, we're reaping the rewards of that philosophy. And I think that people know when Revolution Pro Wrestling are in town, you're getting value for money, you're getting consequential professional wrestling, and you're getting the best wrestlers in the world up close and personal. And I think that that's what's so exciting about this whole situation we're in right now. So look, you look next week live in Southampton, Cameron Kai against Dean O'Brien is going to be a great match for the Undisputed British Cruiserweight Championship. I'm not sure how happy Liam Slater is that match is going on, because he didn't look very happy that Kai was accepting that.
Part of the plan.
Right, and that's it. And he likes to micromanage every aspect of his clients' careers, his students' careers. So yeah, and when he loses that little bit of control, I think that's where he gets upset, right? So that's interesting. But you're going to see like a world-class Cruiserweight Championship match next week. Just signed. You want a scoop, you've got a scoop. If this gets out before the match, and now graphic gets out, so who knows? But it's going to be Mills and Joshua versus Shah Samuels and Michael Oku.
Wow.
And that's going to be the headline match next week in Southampton. So that's going to be absolutely fantastic. Seeing four guys of that caliber sharing a ring with each other.
And heated.
Yes, absolutely what we just saw. And Southampton's seen his fair few share of heated brawls, and this one's going to be no exception. But yeah, like I say, like from an up close and personal environment there, and then it's a bigger venue, but it's still that up close and personal environment of Fantastica Mania, where we're bringing CMLL. Real life Mystico is coming to town. Like the top stars in CMLL wrestling against the top stars in Revolution Pro Wrestling. You are going to see some, CMLL versus CMLL bouts as well, which you could only see in Mexico, and you're seeing these top stars at the peak of their game, up close and personal, live from a hangar in Wolverhampton. And like, I've expressed time and time again my enthusiasm towards Lucha Libre, my enthusiasm towards CMLL, and I just hope that, people don't take this for granted, don't take these opportunities for granted, and they get excited by what's coming to Wolverhampton, because, I know that the guys in the CMLL, they absolutely love coming over. Mystico was in the press just this past week doing an interview saying how much he loves USA, Japan, and of course the United Kingdom as well, and he made a point of saying that. And the luchadors of CMLL, they love to be here. They love to kind of compete against the very best in the UK, and they love to compete in front of the UK fans, and they're going to be holding absolutely nothing back. So anyone who came to Fantastic Mania last year, I always use a Mystico versus Templario match as an example of, this is like an authentic, giving you an authentic Arena Mexico experience, right? But in Wolverhampton, of all places. So nothing against Wolverhampton, but like
the new capital of Lucha Libre.
That's it. So, but yeah, we brought it to Manchester. Last year we brought it to London. This year we're bringing it to Wolverhampton. Do not take this for granted. This is a great opportunity to see world-class luchadors, and then some dream matches until now just would never have been possible to put together. So that's super exciting. Then the following week, of course, we're in Lyon. I've spoken time and time again about how much I love meeting the fans in Europe. I love the passion, I love the energy, and we're bringing a top line Revolution Pro Wrestling card, and it's going to be headlined by an Undisputed British Heavyweight Championship match. It's going to be Jay Joshua going one-on-one with Shah Samuels for that Undisputed British Heavyweight Championship. So that's coming up live in Lyon.
That's another one.
Again, is it a scoop? Because it's a race against time. Video editor versus graphic designer. Who's going to win?
Who do I need to sabotage to make sure I keep it as a scoop?
It's Elliot. Elliot's doing the Lyon graphics. So
well,
You know,
And yeah, taking enough of your time. It's been a wonderful night celebrating 100 times live in London here with RevPro. I'll let you go get changed so you don't get laughed at in the street. But thank you for being here. Go and get some rest. We'll see you next Sunday in Southampton. We'll see you there as well. Thanks for joining us.